How's it going, everyone? It's Warren, and today I have a very awesome and special video for you as I have an exclusive MCU scoop. Every now and then I get lucky and get an exclusive scoop from somebody that's on the inside, and today is one of those days. A scoop that involves certain characters making their MCU debut in a way that you would have never thought. And this is coming right after Marvel Studios' president Kevin Feige has mentioned that they are introducing some new characters in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness that we would have never expected in a way that we would never expect either. So we're going to talk about who these characters are, why they're being introduced in the MCU in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and what effect their introduction to the MCU is going to have on the future. Be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on, leave a like, and drop a comment on the video to enter my giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox One or a PS4. So today's exclusive scoop comes from Mikey Sutton. Many of you have heard me mention Mikey before. He's dropped a lot of inside scoops for our community, including when Spider-Man was going to be introduced into the MCU in Captain America Civil War, and he reported that Disney and Sony were still working out a deal even though they said they weren't. And this is the first part of the scoop that Mikey's been so kind to let me drop today. There are dimensions beyond which are known to man, and there's one MCU superhero who specializes in journeying into these twilight zones. In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Marvel Studios dives headlong into the psychedelic reality warps of Steve Ditko, aiming for the otherworldly terrors of H.P. Lovecraft. Involving extraterrestrial landscapes that the Avengers are not accustomed to, Doctor Strange will need a group of new Guardians that will protect Earth from the portal that the Scarlet Witch ripped wide open for the otherworldly terrors to invade our planet. According to inside sources close to Mikey Sutton, Doctor Strange will end up forming the Illuminati, a secret organization of highly intelligent and powerful individuals at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This mysterious collective will include Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, and Professor X of the X-Men, this being planned to make his MCU debut in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Mikey says to please keep in mind that this intel is from private conversations that transpired before pre-production, so any changes that have happened since are unknown. From this information though, Professor X will make his first MCU appearance in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Who else is being developed for the Illuminati? You can head over to the Lords of the Longbox YouTube channel for part 2 of the exclusive Mikey Sutton scoop. But let's break down this insanely awesome scoop. To start off, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios have been planning on introducing the mutants to the MCU for over 10 years, since the very first Iron Man movie. And we have evidence of this in an exclusive deleted scene that Kevin Feige shared with us. Nick Fury, when talking to Tony Stark about the Avengers Initiative, literally name drops mutants.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough. I have to deal with a spoiled brat who doesn't play well with others and wants to keep all his toys to himself.
Who the hell are you?
Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
Well, what are we avenging?
Whatever the hell we want.
So, Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, and the Illuminati. For those of you who are not aware of what Marvel's Illuminati is, let me explain why this is simply amazing news. The original Marvel's Illuminati group was formed by some of the most elite superheroes in the Marvel Universe. They're a secret organization comprised of the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, King of the Inhumans, Black Bolt, the founder of the X-Men, Charles Xavier or Professor X, the founding member of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards or Mr. Fantastic, the King of Atlantis, Namor the Submariner, and Tony Stark, one of the founding members of the Avengers. So, as you can see, a very powerful and stacked group of superheroes. Originally, this group was formed by Tony Stark uniting all of these people along with Black Panther and Wakanda shortly after the Kree Skull War that had Earth involved. Black Panther would end up choosing not to join the group, but the original idea suggested by Tony Stark was that they form a mega group consisting of all the superhero teams and groups. So the Avengers, the X-Men, the Inhumans, etc. But eventually the group was scaled down to a small secret group that would share secret information and decide secretly how all of the individual groups would correspond to threats. So this actually makes perfect sense how the Illuminati would form right now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right after the events of Avengers Endgame, and specifically after the events that are going to take place in WandaVision. Because as Mikey said in this scoop, apparently in the WandaVision series, the Scarlet Witch is going to rip open a portal portal. And apparently Earth is going to be experiencing some extra dimensional threats. And keep in mind there isn't really an Avengers team right now immediately following Avengers Endgame. The main members are either gone or retired. There's no more Tony Stark, there's no more Captain America, no more Black Widow. Yes, some of the other Avengers are going to be coming back, but not right away. So, Doctor Strange is going to be needing some help, and that help is going to come from outside superhero groups, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. And Doctor Strange is going to take the leaders of these groups and form the Illuminati. Now, one thing to mention, which is really important, is that there actually is a precedence for the Illuminati to come together after the events of Thanos. In the Infinity Gauntlet saga in the comics, after Thanos collects all of the Infinity Stones and all of the superhero teams come together to fight against Thanos and finally defeat him, Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four would ultimately go on to reveal that he's been trying to collect the Infinity Gems, or Infinity Stones as they call them in the MCU. And he takes this to the group in hopes that they will help him collect the Infinity Stones. Despite some apprehension by some of the members in the group, the Illuminati manages to collect all of the Infinity Stones. Once the Illuminati collects all of the Infinity Stones, Mr. Fantastic tries to will the Infinity Stones out of existence. But unfortunately, he is unable to do so. Mr. Fantastic ends up getting a reprimand from the Watcher Uatu. So what Mr. Fantastic ends up deciding to do along with the Illuminati is give one Infinity Stone to each member of the Illuminati to go and hide in the universe. It then becomes the sole responsibility of that member of the Illuminati to take care of each stone they were assigned to. Now let's tie this into Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Everyone is now aware of what the Infinity Stones are and what they can do. Thanos collected them all and used them to erase half the population from the universe, just like he did in the Infinity Gauntlet saga. And obviously, the heroes of the world need to make sure that this never happens again. Now, in Avengers Endgame, it was revealed that Thanos reduced the Infinity Stones to atoms. However, this does not mean that they are destroyed. In fact, the Russo brothers confirmed this in a Q&A. Somebody asked them about the Infinity Stones being destroyed, and they said the Infinity Stones aren't destroyed, they are simply reduced to atoms. Therefore implying that the Infinity Stones could once again arise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this would make sense because the Time Stone is of extreme importance to Doctor Strange. And in fact, in Avengers Endgame we learned from the Ancient One that if Doctor Strange does not have the Time Stone, his timeline and reality is in grave danger. In fact, the Time Stone is the only thing keeping Dormammu away from Earth. So it would make sense that somehow Doctor Strange and other members would find a way to bring back the Infinity Stones. But of course, obviously, you would not want them all in one place or even close to each other, so the Illuminati could be formed and each member could be given an Infinity Stone to look after. Or the Multiverse, which we know Doctor Strange is going to be dealing with in the Multiverse of Madness, could be used to retrieve the Infinity Stones as well. So Doctor Strange is going to form the Illuminati, and in the Illuminati is going to be Professor Xavier. This is going to be his MCU debut, setting up future movies for the X-Men. And I actually really like this way of introducing mutants. By introducing Professor Xavier in the Illuminati and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, they are basically saying that mutants have been around this whole entire time. And not only will this say that they've been around the entire time, but this will also say that Doctor Strange knew about them. This could be a really cool way to introduce them in the MCU because we could get a little bit of a backstory of what they were doing the whole entire time during the Infinity Saga. They could explain where they were during certain events like the Battle of New York when Ultron came, and of course during Infinity War and Endgame. And not to mention that it could even be the Eternals that step in and want the Illuminati formed. The Eternals were created by the cosmic-like gods, the Celestials, and the Eternals' job is to protect Earth and the humans. We're definitely going to find out where the Eternals were and what they were doing during the events of the Infinity Saga. Kevin Feige has already confirmed this. He said that the Eternals know who the Avengers are, but the Avengers don't know who the Eternals are. They clearly didn't intervene and step in during the events of the Infinity Saga, at least they didn't make it known. They could have been operating behind the scenes, but now that Avengers Endgame happened, and the Earth and universe were almost destroyed, perhaps it's time for them to make themselves known. And this could be a part of why the Illuminati are formed. Because it's clear that Doctor Strange is going to need help in protecting this reality that the MCU exists in. And since the Avengers are pretty much disbanded right now, and since new threats that are going to be coming from extra-dimensional worlds are going to be threatening the world, it's time to call in some of the most powerful beings in existence, Professor Xavier and Mr. Fantastic. Now at this point in time, it's unknown of whether or not the Fantastic Four are going to get their powers after the events of Avengers Endgame or if they've existed in the universe this whole entire time as well. But again, according to this inside scoop provided by Mikey Sutton, Mr. Fantastic and Professor Xavier will be joining Doctor Strange and the other members of the Illuminati at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Be sure to head over to Lords of the Longbox's YouTube channel right now to discover who else is going to be in the Illuminati in the MCU. I'll link them down below and let me know what you think about this news. How excited are you to see the Illuminati, the Mutants, and the Fantastic Four appear at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And again, another thank you to Mikey Sutton for letting me drop this scoop today. Don't forget to subscribe with notifications turned on, like this video, and leave a comment below so you can enter my giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox One or a PS4. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.